Urgent, Commanders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Commanders news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Brutal prediction suggests Commanders could finish last, and NFC East few teams in league history enjoyed the kind of turnaround the Washington Commanders went through last season. From being one of the worst teams in 2023 to bringing in an entirely new regime with a rookie quarterback that set records across the board, the Commanders are walking into 2025 with added confidence from last season. Added confidence means nothing when it comes to the NFC East, though. The Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants, and Commanders all know the record their division is currently going through. For over 20 years, the division has yet to see a repeat winner. Along the way, many of the teams in the division saw themselves go from one of the best to dead last in their division. And that's a lesson the Commanders need to learn quickly going into the new season. Coming off a 125 year that saw the organization re-energize their fan base, Washington added key pieces like wide receiver Deebo Samuel and left tackle Laramie Tunsil to be the finishing touches of a Super Bowl roster. That's good stuff, but here's a brutal reality. The turnaround is over. Why? With Dak Prescott returning healthy, the Giants bringing in a veteran quarterback in Russell Wilson who beat Washington last season, and the defending champion Eagles returning. The majority of their roster, it really isn't that hard to see how the Commanders could conceivably finish in last place in the division once again. This doesn't mean it's going to happen. The NFC East is arguably the most unpredictable division in the sport, but teams with meteoric rises one year usually take a step back the following season. Washington needs to be careful that they don't become part of that statistic. Pausing this news. Just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Commanders news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Commanders urged to make trade for $12 million Bills pass rusher. The Washington Commanders were recently suggested as possible trade partner involving a $12 million edge rusher. The Washington Commanders are entering a new era of promise with rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels under center and Dan Quinn at the helm, and momentum is already building. But with the Commanders' expectations rising and a window of opportunity opening during Daniels' rookie contract, the time to act is now. That's why Washington is being encouraged to make a bold move by NFL writer Anthony Palacios' trade for Buffalo. Bills edge rusher A.J. Epinesa, the Commanders, who lost veteran pass rusher Dante Fowler Jr. this offseason, their sack leader in 2024, are suddenly thinner at edge than expected. While young talent remains in the pipeline, adding a proven and productive player like Epinesa could be the ideal move to round out Quinn's defensive front. The future is bright for the Commanders since it was taken over by quarterback Jayden Daniels and head coach Dan Quinn, said Palacios. They're building something special in Washington, and they should maximize Daniels' rookie contract as much as possible. Washington has the cap flexibility and draft capital to make a deal like this happen. Epinesa, a former second-round pick, has quietly turned into one of the more consistent rotational pass rushers in the league. Has recorded 6 or more sacks in each of the last 3 seasons, and his 6 sacks in 2024 would have ranked 3rd on the Commanders last year, a clear indicator of the immediate impact he could have. Beyond the stat line, Epinesa brings versatility, size, and experience in multiple fronts, making him a great fit for Dan Quinn's evolving defensive scheme. He may not be a double-digit sack guy, but his presence would allow Washington to rotate more effectively and keep pressure on opposing quarterbacks across 4 quarters. According to Palacios, Epinesa would be a solid replacement, and the Commanders wouldn't need to break the bank to land him. A Day 3 draft pick, potentially in the 4th or 5th round, might be enough to acquire the 26-year-old pass rusher from Buffalo, who could be the odd man out in a deep Bills defensive line rotation. If Washington truly believes they're on the cusp of playoff contention, adding a steady veteran edge like Epinesa is exactly the kind of move that contending teams make. As a low-risk, high-upside addition that could pay big dividends down the stretch, with Daniels leading the offense and the defense slowly taking shape under Quinn, this could be the smart, timely move that helps push Washington into the postseason picture. Washington Commanders 2025 draft picks by the numbers: The Washington Commanders are already looking to top their incredible 2024 if they're able to lock down the reported deal that puts them on track to build a new stadium at the old RFK Stadium site. This week, they're also attempting to add to an already revamped roster with the NFL Draft. Last year, they began the week of the draft with 9 selections and ended up selecting 3 starters, Jaden Daniels, Mike Sainristil, and Brandon Coleman, while picking 2 more who would contribute, Jerzan Newton and Luke McCaffrey. This year, they have only 5 selections as the week begins, with just 2 in the top 100. Last year's draft had Washington eventually owning 6 of the top 100 picks. What sort of players are available at these picks 29, 61, 128, 205, and 245? We look at the best and bust picks made by all NFL teams in those positions since 2015, and when armed with those selections in the past, which players did Washington choose? For those curious, the streak of not picking at 14, 42, 57, 63, and 77 continues. First round 29, it's a far cry from last year when the Commanders were thinking quarterback and had 3 prime prospects in their sights. To say they found the right guy in Daniels would be a massive understatement, although according to Pro Football Reference, Bo Nix, taken 12th by Denver, had the second best season of the rookie quarterbacks, better than Calvin Williams and Drake May. Last year, Dallas selected Oklahoma offensive tackle Tyler Guyton, and he made 11 starts in 15 games played. For the Cowboys, solid choice. Best Cleveland picked Miami tight end David Njoku in 2017, and he's been a mainstay for the Browns as a double-digit game starter in 5 of his 8 pro seasons, including making the Pro Bowl in 2023. And the former Hurricane is still on their roster, averaging 67 catches over the last 3 years. Bust Tennessee took Georgia offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson in 2020, and he appeared in 1 game for the Titans before spending time on the Miami and the New York Giants roster. Health and legal issues cut his career short as he retired in 2021 to become a rapper. Burgundy Gold Washington has had the 29th pick 3 times, but not in the last 60 years. In 1936, they chose Northwestern guard Paul Tangora, who would never play a down in the league. In 1951, they took Kentucky defensive end Walt Jaworski, who would only play 2 seasons in D.C. before eventually finding his way on the New York Giants roster during their 1956 NFL championship season. In 1962, Washington selected Penn State linebacker Bob Meidinger, who would sign with San Diego in the AFL. Second round 61 last year, Washington had 3 picks in this round: defensive end Jerzan Newton, safety Mike Sainristil, and tight end Ben Sinnott, each making contributions to the club. Last year, Detroit took Missouri defensive back Ennis Rakestraw, who would make 4 tackles during his 8 games for the Lions. Best Tampa Bay tapped Hobart center Ali Marpet in 2015, and the former statesman would start in all 7 years of his career at 3 different positions while making the Pro Bowl in his final season in the league. Bust in 2021, Wake Forest defensive lineman Boogie Basham brought a cool name but limited game to Buffalo. In 2 seasons, he managed 412 sacks in a reserve role before finding his way to the New York Giants roster the last 2 years, where he's made a total of 20 tackles in 17 games played. Burgundy Gold of Washington's 3 picks, only 1 actually, played for the team. Texas guard Hal Fisher, 1944, and Jacksonville State wide receiver Carl Powell, 1982, didn't appear in a regular season game for Washington. But Vanderbilt guard John Sturber, 1945, made 39 starts in 55 games, played for the team between 1946 and 50. Third round, no selections this year. Fourth round, 128. Some teams say that once you get past the top 100, drafting becomes a dart-throwing exercise. And then there are others who say, if that is those teams' attitude, good for them. Dart-throwing by others means, well, find a player another team will overlook. Last year, Kentucky running back Ray Davis was chosen by Buffalo. The former Wildcat rushed for 442 yards while making 17 catches. He scored a combined 6 touchdowns in a reserve role. Best Pittsburgh picked Texas A&M offensive lineman Dan Moore in 2021, and he turned into a 4-year starter for the Steelers. Bust Tennessee wide receiver Josh Malone was taken by Cincinnati in 2017 and made 7 starts as a rookie before splitting his 4-year career between the Bengals and the New York Jets, posting 11 receptions while playing his last regular season game in 2020. Burgundy Gold Washington has had this pick 7 times, typically emphasizing quantity over quality. University of Southern California blocking back Bob Hoffman, 1939, Rice University quarterback Ernie Lane, 1940, Arkansas center Earl Wheeler, 1947, and South Carolina back Gene Wilson, 1954. Never played a regular season down in the NFL. For the record, pick number 128 was in the 11th to 14th rounds in those days. Missouri fullback Ed Quirk, 1948, was a two-year starter in his 4 seasons with Washington, while USC defensive end Ed Henke, 1949, signed with the rival All-American Football Conference's Los Angeles Dodgers before playing 10 years with San Francisco and St. Louis in the NFL. The most recent pick at this spot was Penn State center Greg Huntington, 1993, who played 9 games as a rookie before spending the remainder of his career with Jacksonville and Chicago, retiring after the 1998 season. 5th round, no selections this year. 6th round, 205 Washington has had a checkered recent history in this round, from finding starting center Chase Roulier in 2017 to landing failed long snapper Cameron Cheeseman in 2021. Last year, Houston picked Louisville running back Jawhar Jordan, who spent last fall on the Texans practice squad. Best Michigan safety Josh Metellus was taken by Minnesota in 2020 and has made 15 starts in 82 games with the Vikings. Bust in 2018, the Los Angeles Rams chose Louisville defensive end Trevon Young, and the former Cardinal appeared in just 2 games during his only season in the league. Burgundy Gold Washington has made 2 picks at 205th position, with neither player contributing for Washington. They took Texas Tech halfback Jerry Lovelace in 1966, and he never appeared in a regular season. NFL game. UTEP quarterback Jordan Palmer played in 5 games for Cincinnati and Tennessee from 2008 to 14. 7th round 245 quality can be found here, from a starting safety in Cameron Curl 2020 to a reserve offensive lineman in Chris Paul 2022. Last year's Washington selection, Notre Dame defensive lineman Javonte Jean-Baptiste, appeared in 12 games for the team. Best Louisiana State University center Will Clapp was picked by New Orleans in 2018, and it wasn't just a favor to a local kid. Clapp would make 7 starts in 34 games with the Saints before moving to the Los Angeles Chargers, where he made 14 starts over 2 seasons. After spending 2024 with Buffalo, he's resigned with New Orleans. Bust Minnesota chose North Carolina State University cornerback Jack Tocho in 2017, and the New York Giants took Syracuse defensive tackle Chris Slayton in 2019. Neither played a regular season down in the league. Burgundy Gold, finally a winner. In 1965, Washington, with its 18th round selection, tapped the shoulder of a North Carolina linebacker named Chris Hamburger. The future Hall of Famer would make 3 All-Pro teams and be selected to 9 Pro Bowls in his 12 seasons as a starter. The only other pick at this spot came in 1973, with Vanderbilt defensive back Ken Stone eventually playing with 4 teams over 8 seasons. Stone posted 5 interceptions as a reserve with Washington in 1974. And now, Commanders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Commanders. We'll be back any moment with more Commanders news. We want Dallas.